sports fans. This is the Dog H. Weber with another edition of Weber on Sports Express here on FingerLakes1.com. Hope you had a nice weekend. A little chilly, but it's okay. No snow. This is a new category that we opened up the show this morning, the Huh category. I talked at length last week why Bob Davie, a former Notre Dame football coach, the penthouse in coaching circles, why he would take a job, sign the dotted line of a contract to coach New Mexico, one of the worst teams in all college football. What would make Bob Davie, who had a cushy job as an ESPN football analyst, decide to say, I'm going to go coach New Mexico? Lots of losses coming your way, Bob. That just blew me out of the water. Why would anybody do that? Then I find out a few days ago, another Notre Dame former coach, Mr. Charlie Weis. Charlie Weis. He didn't do too well at South Bend either. What did he do? He decided to sign a contract to coach Kansas. Dorothy, come on. Are you kidding me? Another horrific college football team. You just wonder what Bob Davie and Charlie Weis are thinking. Yes, they coached once at the greatest school in the land to be a coach, Notre Dame, and now they're going to coach two of the worst teams in all of football. Well, one thing about Charlie Weis that I personally like, you can check out the dog's belly, got about a 37 waist, got a little bit of a beer gut here, a little pasta gut, because I'm married a Sicilian. That's okay. I like Charlie Weis being on national TV because he's got a waist of about a 54. He's huge. Ever see Charlie Weis? He is big. Billy Facillo, huge. So every time I see Charlie Weis, I look like I got a small stomach. So that's kind of a good thing about them hiring Charlie Weis, as we'll see him on the national TV screen. You just have to wonder what makes these guys go from the penthouse to the outhouse. Well, they said it was a mutual agreement, but I believe Pennzoil, who's paid $17 million a year to sponsor the 22 car, used to be driven by a guy named Kurt Busch, a.k.a. Crybaby, a.k.a. I got behavioral problems. His latest conquest of being an idiot was when he gave the old middle finger to a reporter at the end of good old Homestead, the final race of the NASCAR circuit for 2011. They parted ways. They said it was agreeable, but I think Roger Penske was told by Pennzoil, who pays $17 million to sponsor that car, get rid of that bum. I'm just hoping that nobody picks him up. But I got a feeling some team owner, not maybe one of the top teams, will hire Kurt Busch because of his wins in his career. They'll get greedy. I hope they don't find him a ride for 2012 and let him sit out an entire year because he's not worthy of driving in the NASCAR circuit. Congratulations from the dog to Roger Penske and those guys for making a great decision. Get rid of that bum. Speaking of bums, say it ain't so, Ryan. Let's go to the MVP, Ryan Braun, the phenomenal player for the Milwaukee Brewers. Can you say Manny Ramirez? Why do I bring up Manny Ramirez? Because Ryan Braun has just been accused of being Mr. PED. What's PED? They say he took performance enhancement drugs. Manny got nailed a few years ago. What's the penalty and the punishment? 50-game suspension. The guy's the MVP, gets the announcement a few weeks ago, and now he's under the gun. If they don't overturn that ruling, Mr. Ryan Braun will be sitting down for 50 games and not playing for Milwaukee until late May. Let's hope it's not true, because I like Ryan Braun. I think he's a hell of an athlete. Maybe he's a hell of an athlete because he was taking performance enhancement drugs. And he's in a class that you don't want to be in with Mr. Manny Ramirez. Well, let's switch to the NFL. How about the Tebow magic? You know, I thought I was a Catholic and I thought I believed in God. But obviously I don't praise the Lord like Tim Tebow does. The guy is phenomenal. Trailing 10-0 against the Bears. Now it's 10-7. The guy hits a 59-yard field goal to make it 10-10. And you know what's going to happen in overtime. Denver wins 13-10. The magic is unbelievable. Can you say freaking scary? How about the Colts? The site, Indianapolis, the site of Super Bowl in February 2012. It looks like they're going to be 0-16. Looks like it real good right now. How about the Jets killing the pathetic Chiefs of Kansas City? What a horrific performance by the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, let's be honest, folks. Check me out now. Let me know the honest to God truth. Trailing 34-22 with 5 minutes and 47 seconds to go. What chance did you give the Giants for coming back down by 12? They did. The Giants pull it out. Jerry Jones, I thought, was going to jump out of that high booth of his, that beautiful suite, and take his kid and take his grandchild with him. He looked like he was ready to kill somebody at the end of that game. The Giants now are tied in the NFC East. What a spectacular comeback by the New York G-Men. Well, you know what? My Raiders, I was bragging about them, but I'll suck it up and take the abuse. They got steamrolled by the Packers. Can you say an undefeated season? The Packers look phenomenal. They crushed my Raiders by 30, 46-16. And one of the most hideous teams in NFL history has to be the Bills. They get run out of San Diego Stadium. Now that, of course, if you're keeping track, that is 6 losses in a row. That is 8 years in a row where they have had losing records. And, oh, by the way, it's 12 years in a row where they won't make a playoff. Now their record is 5 up, 8 down. You remember when they were 5-2? You know what, folks? They are so hideous. And I thought it was only fitting that at the end of the game, who's standing next to that worthless coach, Chan Gailey? I don't know what the problem is. We're trying. Oh, really, Chan? We're trying our best. The Harvard guy is standing next to Gailey. They got a kid in there playing quarterback with 2 minutes to go named Tyler Pigpen. I think his name is Thigpen, but for this show I'm calling him Pigpen. And it's only ironic that his name being by Weber called Pigpen because he's surrounded with a bunch of greasy pigs. That is one of the worst organizations in the history of football. And I have made a decision this morning on Weber on Sports Express. I won't mention Buffalo in future broadcasts. The only time I will bring up Buffalo on this show is if they make the Super Bowl. They don't have to win the Super Bowl. They just got to get in. The next time that happens, Jimmy Seneca will be 75. I'll be long gone, and Jimmy can fill in for me and talk about the Bills. But from that point on, till they make a Super Bowl, no longer will I mention BB on this broadcast. That's how horrific that team is. You know, some folks, they talk about Monday Night Football. Gruden, Jaws, Jaworski, and Tariq are 3 of the best. But how do you get a game, Seattle, St. Louis? Combined, they've got 7 wins. Combined. Doesn't Monday Night Football, paying all that money to the NFL, have an escape clause? Can't they switch a game? It's obvious they can't. Seattle, St. Louis, sorry, Scotty Trickler, horribility with a capital H. Tonight, I'm not calling it Monday Night Football. I'm calling it Monday night. I'll be in bed at 8:30 before I see the opening kickoff. The rating will be about that much. They might get 7 fans to watch the game. Pretty ugly. Well, how about SU basketball? Jimmy Boeheim's got some issues, you know, off the court. But let me tell you something. They're #1 in the country. Thanks to Kentucky losing Indiana and Kansas knocking off Ohio State. Syracuse was 3rd. They moved to #1. A lot of criticism of Jimmy playing the cream puff schedule early on. But as Jim knows, the Syracuse grad, they're going to play a lot better competition in a couple of weeks when the Big East starts. The knock against SU, they always start off with a cream puff schedule. They always win the first 10 or 12 or 13. Once in a while, they get a major upset. But Syracuse, playing it close to the vest, staying home at the Dome, we'll see what happens. They got a great team. I have to give them credit. Will they continue? But right now, they're #1 in the world of college basketball. Hey, by the way, this week's Dog and Paulie podcast on Wednesday should be one of our best ones ever. The political man, Peter Same, who got beat by Don Earl, will be in the studios for the full hour, and hopefully we'll have an opportunity to have you send in some questions. Pete Same will be with us this coming Wednesday. We do a special Dog and a special Weber on Sports Express video show, by the way, this coming Wednesday in the afternoon. Myself and Jimmy will be going up to the Geneva Rec Complex up in Geneva, New York. We'll be interviewing Clark Mauchley, the head coach of the Geneva Waterloo hockey team. We'll do it on the ice as a background. That should be fun. So if you're in Geneva on Wednesday afternoon around 3:30, stop by and say hello to myself and Jimmy. We look forward to saying hello to you. That'll be a special Weber on Sports video broadcast this coming Wednesday. And of course, the following Wednesday, we hope to have Diana Smith, the mayor of Seneca Falls, along with Connie Sowards. That'll be on the 21st. And of course, I end my show with the persons of the week. How about Jeff and Tina Rook? How about Kevin and Jolene Korzeniewski? They're just the top 4 that were running this show. They had a lot of volunteers, a lot of people helping them out with the 5K and the walk involving It's a Wonderful Life competition over a weekend. It was spectacular. I drove through Seneca Falls. It reminded me of seeing 2,000 little bees. Buzz. They were hipping and they were skipping and they were walking and they were running. There were bodies everywhere on every street in this village. Fantastic job. 2,000 participants in the 5K/walk competition. To Jeff and to Tina and to Kevin and to Jolene, you folks were the lead group. Congratulations, a spectacular job. Well, ladies and gentlemen, take care, everybody. Enjoy yourself. That's a look at sports my way.